it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio with another installment of Artist Trading Card a Day 2021. This is our month-long June 2021 challenge from Art Joy of Sharing Art Community. And you can make an ATC each day, take a photo, post it on any social media using the hashtag ATCAD2021. So I have for you today days 7, 8, and 9. In this video, I've just been clumping everything together rather than trying to make a video every day. We've been doing this challenge in Art Joy of Sharing for several years, and it's just been getting more and more popular. I hope you guys are playing along. So I decided to use 3 backgrounds today that I made at some point with watercolor paper and alcohol ink, and they're all from the same sheet. So I cut like little sheets of paper that I could cut into 3 ATCs, and I thought it would be interesting to use all 3 from the same sheet in one video so that you can see that even though the background might look kind of the same, the cards all turn out very differently. So for the first one, I decided to use this cute little stamp set from Dina Wakely Designs. It's got birds, it's got some little words, and I decided to use that. I thought it would be fun to make a little bird card. I think birds are adorable. I really do. And she's got interesting, quirky designs with a lot of scribbles and scratches. She's got a different style. So I first used, I think the other stamp set I used for the border is maybe Diane Reevely stamps. I'm not sure. But anyway, they're just some stamp sets that someone had sent me that they didn't need anymore and wondered if I could use them. I'm like, sure, I can always use anything. So I stamped the border with Stays On ink, and I also went around the edges of the card with Stays On ink to darken it up a little bit. And that's a brown color. I don't know if it's called coffee or something, some kind of brown. And then I also stamped the bird with that same ink pad and the little words that say tweet, chirp, or something like that. Something cute like that. Let me look at it. Tweet, chirp. Yes. And cut those out. Then I colored the bird with some Neocolor 2 water-soluble crayons to color it in colors that are similar to the background, which are like golds and browns. I also cut out some leaves from a piece of painty paper that was just there on my desk. And I drew in some branches because I just think birds should be in trees with leaves. Of course, here where I live in Arizona, the birds aren't always in the trees. Sometimes they're on the cactuses. We do have some trees, though, that they hang out in. There's always a lot of tweeting and chirping in my backyard in the morning when I take the dog out. So I just think it's fun. I was trying a lot of different methods on this one to make the pieces stand out more. I tried some different colors of pit pin. I was using the crayons. There's some type of finish on here. I don't know what I used. I think, oh, this is the one I think where I sealed it with maybe some matte medium or something. I don't know. There's a slick surface on these cards, and a lot of the different things that I was trying just really weren't working very well. The pit pins were fine, but I didn't pick the right colors. And anyway, I ended up liking it okay at the end, but it was a lot of fussing, a lot more fussing than I would usually do for something this, pretty simple. I mean, this is a simple little ATC. I didn't draw it. I didn't, do anything particularly complicated. It still took quite a while. This video is sped up 4 times fast, so that gives you an idea. It took 4 times longer than however long this is going to take to do this. I decided at some point to get out a white Posca pen to make some highlights, and I thought it would be maybe fun to color in the squares, the every other square with the white, and that was a little bit more dramatic looking. I liked that because I had tried to color it in with the kind of a gold color, and it didn't even stand out from the background. I decided to make some marks and maybe darken up the bird a little bit with my crayons again, so I got those back out. And I made some marks in the background with green, and then I put the crayon on directly and didn't blend it in order to get it a little bit darker, a little bit more dramatic looking. And some more white, some little white highlights with the white Posca pen. And this one's just about done, but it's cute, but it should have taken a lot less time than it did. Sometimes that happens. The whole idea of ATC a day and all these other daily challenges is to just get you rolling to do something creative each day. And an ATC doesn't take long. You know, you can really whip one out pretty fast, especially if you've already got a background. So, yeah, you guys should be doing it. If you're not, join us. We love to see them. It's just super fun. So then, of course, I put my cutout on the back because I'll probably give these away at some point in the year, so that I know, because I have a lot of ATCs. I've given tons of them away, but I still have a lot. So it's nice to know what year it was from, since we've been doing this challenge for a while. So for the next one, this piece of paper has the green on the other side that I cut out for the leaves, and I just flipped it over and I saw this purple pattern with, it's from a gel plate, and I have a homemade mark making tool that makes that pattern, and I saw it and I was like, oh, purple and yellow are complementary colors. You should use those. So I glued that down, and then I was just getting out some different little pieces for collage. This is some tissue paper with some gold triangles on it, and that's pretty fun. I like the metallic gold triangle paper, and I just have bits and bobs of it here and there around. So I was using some of that. I found like a little barcode type thing. Well, it's not a barcode, but it's a code. You know, you can scan it, a scanner code on something that was sitting on my desk from a label or something. And I wanted to put different pieces of paper in these little squares. And this this one is one of those ones where you just keep going, right? You think you have an idea, you have a concept of what you're going to do. Like I thought, oh, I'm going to fill in each little square, and that's going to be cool, and then I'll just do something and I'll be done. That's not what happened. I just kept rolling with it. I just kept adding more things to it, because I was having fun. I like to glue paper, and so I was just having a lot of fun gluing all these little bits, and I didn't want to stop, so I just kept going, and in the end, it's quite busy, but it's cute. I ended up putting a snarky quote on it, which is something that I would say, especially in the morning when I've just woken up. It's like, just shh, be quiet. Don't talk to me till I wake up, you know. So yeah, I just keep putting stuff on, little bits. If you put a color one place, I feel like you need to put it in another place on your composition. So I'm adding some of the pink and some of the orange in different places. It mostly covers up that background, which it was a cool background, but I already had a card with that background. So as you can see, even though you might have a very, very similar piece of background, it might come out completely different. And that's why I did it this way, making 3 cards for 3 days, using the same background so that you guys could see. It doesn't much matter whether it's the same or not. I'll probably do that again because I think I have another one that has 3, maybe down to 2. I might have already used one. I don't know. Anyway, fun stuff. I used a couple Stencil Girl stencils and put on some black. You know, I probably could have stopped before I did this because the background was neat. But then I put more on and I was having fun with it, so I just kept going. That scanner code thing in the middle was kind of too white, so I put some crayon over it and blended it out just to make it like kind of the same yellowy color. But I think it almost completely gets covered up in the end. There might be just a tiny bit peeking out. in the final piece. Then I got out some Posca pins. I thought it would be fun to draw around these marks that I made with the stencils. And I got some orange, I got some pink, and then I ended up getting kind of like a golden yellow color out that was very similar to the color in the background, and drawing around the shape of this like circular, almost looks like a rope, but a rope that has no end because it's an oval or a circle. And I drew around that. Then I used that one to splatter a little bit. I'm like, oh, this is fun, having fun. But I still need something on there, maybe some words. So after I dried it, I got out some snarky words. Well, I guess I did the edges first with a black ink pad just to finish it off. I like that look. Well, I guess I was looking to find something else. I found a little scrap that just had some writing on it, and I thought I would lighten up the center part of the oval. So I tore that out and glued it down, and I was pretty happy with that. It's just got somebody's writing on it as from a note that somebody wrote me. And I'm like, okay, this is probably pretty much done. I put the back on it that has all my social media and my name and where I live and everything on it. And that's when I thought, okay, now words. Words will finish it. I'll just get some words and I'll finish it. So I'm looking at different ones from this book of snarky sayings or quotes from Tim Holtz Ranger. And I decided I would use the black backgrounds. I found this one that said, less talky, more shutty, which is really what I feel like a lot of times. So I put that on there. I'm like, I still wasn't done. I didn't like it. Still wasn't done. So then I looked in this book again to try to find, it's like a storage book with little pockets, to try to find something else. And I ended up picking out a lady that was much too tall for the card, but if I cut her in half and just use the top half, she fits. So then I had to trim around that. And so I did that, and I think I cut some of that out when I was, I mean, you don't want to watch me cut it out, right? That's boring. Boring, boring, boring. It's pretty fussy work. So I cut her out, just the top half of her. Maybe sometime I'll have something funny to do with the bottom half of her. I didn't throw it away. Maybe a combination of an animal in the bottom of the lady or something funny like that. I don't know. So I just put it back in the book. But once I was done cutting it out, I glued it down using my Yoo-Hoo glue stick. I've just been using glue sticks on my ATCs. This particular glue stick, the one that's blue and then turns white when it's, or turns clear when it's dry, is perfectly fine for doing this type of work. There's no reason that you need to get out matte medium or anything like that for this. And then I just put the words back on, and I do apologize that my camera was not aligned properly. So I know I keep dropping off the bottom here. I know it's probably pretty annoying, but you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to refilm it because of that. So then I went around the edges of the piece with the black Stabilo All pencil and blended that out with a water tank brush. That helps something that you've glued on look less like a sticker and more like something that is integrated into the piece. I really believe in the shadowing and highlights when you're doing collage, specifically something like this where it's really a different piece, but you want it to integrate into the background really well. So that's number 8, and I think it's cute. I think it's funny. That little cutout is something that Peg sent me at some point, and they're funny and cute. So the next one, I had this die cut that looked like a honeycomb, and I thought with the background this color, it would be a good idea to do a honeycomb and a bee, something like that. I wanted to make some kind of funny, whimsical bee with maybe a flower or something, which I did end up with. My bee's kind of freaky looking, but hey, whatever. I do like to make bees. I usually collage them. You guys have seen a couple pieces that I've made on hexagonal board recently that they're, collage bees, but this time I'm just going to color. So I glued that little piece of die cut down. I put a little bit of shading. I went around the outside edge of the card with the brown Stays On to finish up the edges of the card. I like the way that looks myself, so I do that. Then I just tore off a scrap off of something else. This is some rice paper, and I drew a little body shape for my bee, and got out some markers I hardly ever use. These are alcohol markers from Spectrum Noir, and I have the whole set. I think I have the whole set. I did try very diligently to get all the colors. So I have all these pens and I never use them. It's really kind of pitiful. So I got those out and I was trying to do some alcohol marker coloring. The rice paper, of course, is ridiculously absorbent and it was sucking up the ink and spreading it out strangely. So I gave it up pretty quickly. But I did make the bee body and then I took some of another scrap of rice paper that I tore off something on my desk and made some wings for my bee because, it's got to have wings, right? Can't fly without the wings. And I glued everything down with my Yoo-hoo glue stick. And then everything else is just going to be drawn on with a acrylic paint pen. I made illustration lines and drew around everything with that and made any details. I hope you guys are enjoying this video. If you are, don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment or a question if you have one. And of course, you can share this, save it on Pinterest. All those things will help my channel grow by helping other people find me with the YouTube algorithm, because those things count towards recommending my channel to other people. So I always appreciate that. So this is a very whimsical bee. I drew on some weird legs and I'm adding some highlights and little furry bits with the white just to make it look, I don't know, something. And then I colored in the wings with some light gray to give some veining into the wings like insect wings look. They have like little sections that are all partitioned out. Then I thought, well, it needs a flower. So I grabbed a piece of paper that has some rolled out colors on it, some pink, and cut out some flower petals to build some flowers at the bottom. And I still want some of the die cut to show through, but it ends up getting mostly covered, but it's still there because the whole point was the honeycomb die cut, right? The honey colored card with the honeycomb die cut. And then I go and cover most of it up. That's how these things work. So gluing on the petals with the Yoo-hoo glue stick. And then I have to make some centers. And as you can see on that brayered paper, that there is some yellow on there. So I'm just going to cut that paper out to make the centers of the flowers. And I kind of make the bee all surrounded by flowers because that's how bees want to live. I think the bee's kind of standing on this one flower and then there's another one near it and maybe another one even on the other side of that that's just peeking in. So fun little whimsical weird looking bee. But 3 cards with the same color background that look very different. Although you can really, they all kind of become a set because they do have that same color. So even though they're very different with different techniques and stuff, they've all got the same color. So you can lay them down together and they seem like they go together a little bit. So I drew some more on the legs to make the bee stand on the flower petals or on the center of the flower. And then I went around the edges a little bit more And after that, I just wrote some words, be happy, and I was done. So that's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.